All right. A couple things you need to do. One thing you need to do today is order your annual report. Okay. An annual report is something that's required by the SEC for a company to turn in once a year, that provides all their financial information, as well as kind of a little bit of a history of the company, what's happening with the company, what auditors think about their financial statements, and it's just, again, required by SEC. If you look on the screen back here on your mini projects, there's a sheet there of where to order your annual report. You get it for free. Now, I want you to do something unique. Instead of getting online, where a lot of them are now, I want you to get one mailed to you. Because what's interesting is I've had so many kids come up and says, Mr. Wayne, that's the first thing I've ever had mailed to me. And I got it in the mail. So order one, have them mailed to you. Don't pay for it. It's going to be most major corporations have annual reports. You can't go to McDonald's through the drive-thru and say, I'll take a Big Mac, a fry, and an annual report. You'll have no idea what you're talking about. Hopefully on the annual report, not on the fries and the Big Mac, okay? Unless you're like that lady that went to Costco last week with my brother-in-law, and she unloaded her whole cart, put it up there, was paying for it, and gave them a Sam's card at a Costco. So, poor gal. All right. So annual report, get it ordered. Order often, order early. Don't come to me in November and say, well, I ordered it, Mr. Wayne, but I didn't get it. Okay? So it usually takes a week to 3 weeks to get it, so keep watching it, take a look. And today I'd like you to get online, order your annual report. Okay? And there's a website that you can use for it. It's totally free. It does require you to put in your mailing address. Okay? So annual report.
Is it one per group or one?
One per individual. This is an individual product. Good question. Individual project, each one does it. There's also 2 worksheets that you have to fill out on the annual report. So not only get one, but you have to fill out a worksheet. And if you have any trouble with the questions, please come ask. Just don't guess, because I want to know what page number you got it from. Staple your report inside the annual report. Use a marker and write your name on the outside of the report so somebody doesn't borrow it and then turn it in as their own. Okay? Had that happen a couple times. All right. Today we're going to talk about just a couple little things to kind of finish up on here. One of the things is, why does China have a better telecommunications phone system than the United States does, given the fact that the United States has spent hundreds of billions of dollars burying wires everywhere so that everybody has a landline going into their house? Why does China and someplace in India have better phone service than we do here in the United States? Any idea? We're going to talk about today's legacy systems. Legacy systems means just it's basically old. Your parent went to a certain school, so now it's called their legacy. Somebody that's been to that place. In the United States was in the forerunner on things like telephones. And it buried thousands of miles of cable and fiber optics in order to bring phone service to everyone in the United States. Well, what came out and has replaced landlines? Cell phones. And so you put these cell towers up, and now you've got widespread coverage. And so a lot of the developing countries didn't have all the money to put in the infrastructure that the United States did. In fact, in India, they used to hire people in some of the stores that did nothing but wait for a dial tone on the phone. They would sit there and listen on the phone to an annoying beep until they got a dial tone. Then they would get the manager, the owner, so they could make a phone call. It took that long to make phone calls. So people were hired to do nothing but listen to dial tones. Now with cell towers, cell phones, that's gone away. And so sometimes we get held back by these legacy systems because companies have invested billions of dollars into these systems. They don't want to just trash them because something new comes out. And we talked about, why do companies invest hundreds of millions of dollars into new technologies for customers when what they have for them, customers are happy with? Why do they go out and take that risk and invest hundreds of millions of dollars into new technologies when the old one's working fine? And the answer to that is what? Because of what?
Change.
Not change. Competition. Competitors. What happens is, Bank of America is the first one that came out with online banking. and people liked it. Now, the old banking was just as fine. People were happy with that until they saw something new. So Bank of America invested hundreds of millions of dollars into an online banking system. People start flocking to it. And so if you're a customer with BB&T or Wells Fargo, one of those places, and your friend tells you about this and you try it, you like it, what do?
Buy it.
You do what?
Get it.
You leave your current company, right, and go to Bank of America. So what happens is these companies start seeing their customers leaving to go to a new place. And so what do they now do? What's their only response to this? Is to do what? Not join the competition, but change their technology to include this new technology in their offerings. How many banks do you know right now that do not have online banking systems? I can't think of any. They all have it. They're all doing something like that because the customer demanded it, because one company went out there to offer something that was, a competitive advantage to them for another company. And so now companies going to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in these new technologies. And so what drives companies to invest money into new technologies is not just because they're new, but because they want to be the first to the market with it. They want to be the ones that the customers will flock to, so they do that. And then everybody else has to follow suit within a few years. But they have what we call a competitive advantage for that. This is one thing you have to do with your companies. In order to be in business, you have to have some sort of competitive advantage. What is the thing that is going to get that customer to come to you and then to do what? Not only stay with you, but what's one thing you want from a customer? Nothing happens until a customer makes a purchasing decision. So you want that customer not only to come to you, but to purchase something, to buy something, to give you some money, right? That's the whole thing. And remember, guys, that one is so important. Nothing happens until a customer makes a purchasing decision. You can have the best website, the best product, the best everything, but if you can't get that customer to give you money, it's for naught. It makes no difference. And one of the things you want is you want to have a competitive advantage. Now, on your projects, which you're going to be introducing your company to the world here in a couple days, is what is your competitive advantage? What makes you different than the competition? And all of you all have something that has competition for it. And remember, if you're coming up with something new, there's two things you have to take a look at. Is the reason nobody is doing this, A, because it won't work, or it's too early, or B, because there's no money in it. Or I guess the other one would be, nobody's thought of it. You're coming out with something that's radical, something that's new, and people are going to flock to it. We'll talk about, that's a disruptive technology when we come out with something like that. Cell phones were a disruptive technology. It changed everything. Those little cameras, instant cameras, what do you call the electronic cameras? Huh? What's an electronic camera? Digital camera, thank you. Digital camera. Digital cameras came out, and that was a disruptive technology. Kodak sold virtually no film. My daughter has an average of 2,000 pictures a day of each of her children. My parents took 2 pictures in 15 years of me. So I got one here and I got one here. But because it was so expensive. And then what wiped out digital cameras? Not cell phones. Smartphones. What wiped out cell phones? Smartphones. Because what you have in your hand right now is more computing power than anybody ever had. Some of the games that you have more computing power than the Apollo landers did for the moon missions. It's absolutely incredible where all this has gone. Competitive advantage. What makes you better than the competition? Why are people going to come to you and spend their money? Remember, one of the questions on the test was meet your customers' changing needs profitably, because your customers' needs are going to change. Make sure you meet your customers' changing needs properly. Your customers' needs are going to change. Okay, two other things we want to talk about here is mission and vision statements. Now, I should have those uploaded to the S drive. And you should start showing those with your project here on Thursday. What's a mission statement? Right. These are two different things. Mission statement, vision statement. Mission statement is what you're doing right now, where you want to be. Vision statement is where you see yourself in the future, where you want to go. Okay, difference between these two. You need to take a look at it at your company. And you've got to take a look at these things. It's amazing how fast some companies grow and how slow some companies grow. And taking a look at some of the sales that some of these companies do, it's absolutely incredible that somebody doing something like that could do so much business. You got to take a look at things like Facebook. Who did Facebook wipe out? MySpace. MySpace was really touted as the place to be, and all of a sudden, somebody comes up with this new, little bit better idea and take everything over. Google. Who did they wipe out? Yahoo and about 40 other different web servers. I'm going to show you a video on on Google later. In Google, one comment their chairman makes, which I think is very relevant, is they are one click away from oblivion. One click away from being out of business. That people just make that one click difference. They choose somebody else than them. They realize how tenuous their position is at the top. And so they've got to constantly keep innovating to meet their customers' changing needs. Swap. Thank you. Thank you so much for those towels. Appreciate it. All right. So on this mission statement, vision statement, where do you see your company right now? What are your goals? With my restaurant, we used to make our kids memorize our mission statement. We wanted to be the provider of choice in the Mexican dining restaurant. We wanted people to have, to come back and visit us again. Vision statement, where do you see yourselves in the future? With ours, we'd like to see about possibly franchising out our concept, getting other people to help us grow our concept to other areas. All right. So any questions on these things here? Guys, take good notes. You can use these on your quizzes. All right. Okay. Thank you.